104.5 The Zone, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee. And as we are midway through hour 3, we are joined by Mike Keith, the voice of the Vols. Hello, sir. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Red Bryant. Good morning, Ramon Foster. And early happy Thanksgiving to you both.
Yes, and the same to you and your family.
Yes, sir.
Mike, this is the biggest Tennessee-Vandy matchup since fill in the blank.
For both sides or for one side?
For both sides, I guess. Because, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of crazy. For both sides, you probably have to go back to like 1955 because Vandy was headed to the Gator Bowl. Tennessee was in year 1 under Bowden Wyatt and had closed the season strong, leading to what would be an SEC championship team in 1956. The 1914 game is one that would probably stand out as well in pre-SEC history. But there have been very few where both of them have had this much on the line. 1982 would certainly be another one because Vanderbilt had a very, very good year with Whit Taylor. Tennessee had beaten Alabama that year, but neither one had, potential championship playoff implications. I just don't think there's ever been one quite like this, certainly from the Vanderbilt side. From the Tennessee side, 1998 would qualify because they needed to win that game to advance to the SEC championship game and then eventually to advance to play for the national championship. So it's historic, and I think it's exciting for both sides because of the history that's involved.
Yeah, I'm glad you and Ramon and the guys are getting to call this because this is going to be very entertaining, just to say the least. But, Mike, when was the last time you saw someone like Diego Pavia and his effect on a program? Because that's one of the main stories in this. It's just what he has meant to that program and how they've built things up around him year over year.
Yeah, I think it's Johnny Manziel is the good comparison.
There you go.
Overall, different era, though.
Yeah.
Because Johnny Manziel, there was no NIL, there was no transfer portal. And, for how Vanderbilt has done the job as an overall program to not only get him in the program, but to acquire the talent, to put it around him, to get him Stowers, who's the best tight end in the country. The overall execution of this thing by Vanderbilt football, not just the coaching staff, and I think they've done an amazing job, but by Vanderbilt football is it's clinic. They have shown you what it takes in this day and time to do it with a lot of talented people who are not only in their front office, so to speak, but on their coaching staff and around their coaching staff. And then obviously the players have had a tremendous buy-in to what this is. And this is a team that plays outstanding football. When you watch them, you are blown away at how well they play. More than anything else. Take out Pavia, take out Stowers, take out, any of the stars. But this football team plays excellent football in every single area. And from that standpoint, it makes them a very fun team to watch.
They are. We're talking about Mike Keith, voice of the Vols. This one, Mike, when you look at the coaches in this one, primarily defense and Clark Lee, and other one, Josh Heupel, and his offensive mindset also, how do you kind of see this game going? We're talking about 40 points each, or we're talking about a slugfest when it comes down to keeping it close, keeping it tight, and nobody mess up? What's your read or feel on it, I guess, going into this weekend, too? Because it can go any way possible, Mike.
Sure. Yeah, Vanderbilt's done it every way. They've played the wide open games, the Auburn game. They came back in the Texas game. They've shown the ability to do that. And Vanderbilt has shown the ability to slug as well, which has been really impressive about them this year. I think before last week, I would have had a harder time answering because I had not seen Tennessee play that slug game that they did at Florida, where they got down in the trenches and they got dirty against a physical team. And I don't mean dirty in terms of style of play. They got there their hands dirty, being willing to play that physical brand of football that you have to sometimes in the SEC. So to answer your question, I think we can now say both teams are capable of doing that. It would almost seem like it's a high scoring affair, almost back to the 81 game that was 38-34. They've played a couple games. Last year was 60 points between the two teams after Vanderbilt got off to the great start. It's hard to see these teams not scoring, but would I be surprised if it's 24-21? No, because I think they can both do it. I think that the tone of this game will be set very early by the defenses based on what they can stop, how they get off the field on third down, and how they play red zone. Both of these teams are excellent scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Both of them have 40 red zone touchdowns. Vanderbilt in 52 trips, Tennessee at 56 trips. Both these teams are good on third down. Tennessee's a little better on fourth down. As a matter of fact, Tennessee's one of the better teams in the country going on fourth down. So from those standpoints, what are the defenses able to limit? And if, for example, the defenses aren't able to limit, did the offenses turn the volume up to 11 and just say, let's go and play this as wide open and wild? I think the thing I can say for sure, it's going to be entertaining. I think this is going to be one of the most entertaining college football games of the 2025 season.
No doubt about it. Speaking of the defense, man, there's been a couple of guys that's kind of been bright spots as of late. One we saw what his importance was when he came back, and that's Arion Carter being back at linebacker last week, and also David Hobbs. How impressive were those two last week in Florida, and what is going to take for them to be that much more impressive this weekend against Vandy?
Well, it's funny because, Tennessee's defense has been maligned this year, and in some cases with good reason, because they've had problems in key moments. But you get David Hobbs back in the defensive line, and in the month of November, suddenly your defensive line's a lot better. Mm-hmm. Wow. He comes back from the foot surgery. It takes some time to get in playing shape. I mean, this guy was a 5-star coming out of high school. And I believe in 5 stars. Give me all the 5 stars you could possibly have, and I'll take my chances. The majority of first-round draft picks, or at least a solid number of first-round draft picks this April, will have been 5 stars. So give me those guys. Give me that talent. Hobbs is easily the most physically talented of Tennessee's defensive linemen. Carter's the leader of the defense, and he played for several weeks, not at his best. Last week, he looked like Arion Carter again. And while he's been gone, you've seen Edwin Spillman grow up. And, oh, by the way, with both of those guys available, Jeremiah Thielander is asked to do what he does best, be that downhill linebacker. Mm-hmm. And now also in the secondary, you got what you got. Boo Carter's gone. Jermod McCoy, not going to play this year. Ricky Gibson, not coming back. So now you've got the 5 guys, and you say, okay, this is who we are. You're not switching in and out as much. You're not trying to find depth. You're just playing who you got. Almost like Tennessee only played 9 players in basketball last night against Houston. In certain situations, you're almost better off if you don't have as many choices. And I think all of those things combined together have Tennessee playing with better communication and with better synergy on defense down the stretch. They'll need it Saturday for sure.
Voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, with us here on Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Mike, about this matchup Saturday, you just said it's going to be one of the most entertaining college football games of this season, regardless of where you are. What bothers you about this matchup on Saturday from a Tennessee's perspective?
Oh, I just think who Vanderbilt is. They just execute at such an incredibly high level, and they don't open the door for you. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. Anytime you have to play a really good football team that you have to beat, that's the hardest challenge. Vanderbilt has gotten their football program under Clark Lee to the point where you have to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. They're not going to give you lots of wild opportunities. So what you have to do is you've got to beat the man in front of you. You've got to win to go hit the quarterback. You've got to win in the open field against their talented receivers. And defensively, they just play so stout. There's not going to be 5 big busts. You're not going to get behind them. Somebody's not going to lose Chris Brazzell. That's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So your execution, Rhett, has to be so good in order to beat them. And that's always the most difficult part in winning a game against a good football team, when they are a team that has talent, yes, but does the more important thing, and that is they play at such a high level, you have to find a way to go beat them. That is hard to do. And it means you're asking a lot more of yourself, because your opponent is not going to give you anything. And that's the way Vandy's been all year. The 2 teams that have beaten them have had to beat them. Other teams have had chances in close games. I mean, this is the SEC. Of course you're going to have close games. Hadn't been able to close the door. Texas nearly blew it. Because they opened the door for Vanderbilt to come back, and had there been 5 minutes left in that game, Vanderbilt wins. I mean, that's what Vandy is right now. And you have to, I mean, again, you're tipping your hat to everybody involved with that program, that they have created that type of football team and that football program.
Mike, as it pertains to the changing landscape of football, which the 2 big factors are name, image, likeness, and certainly the transfer portal. Is this a prime example in terms of Vanderbilt? Obviously for Tennessee with the change at quarterback and how that's worked out, but where that has worked in their advantage, coupling up with excellent coaching like Clark Lee and his staff. Is this a prime example of why this game is what it is Saturday?
Well, you've heard the term, don't hate the player, hate the game. Vanderbilt, and this starts with Candace Lee. They said, we're going to give Clark Lee time. Their athletics board, the people who are the big fundraisers, everybody associated with loving that program, they got in. And then guess what they did? They figured out the game. They got Jerry Kill in there. They brought in Pavia and Stowers. They have done a remarkable job in their talent evaluation for people who fit their program and their skill. Vanderbilt's key to success is they have figured out the game. And, to a certain extent, we could say that's what Tennessee did in order to come back as quickly as they did. Tennessee figured out the game. Florida at this point has not figured out the game. There are programs like Auburn at this point has not figured out the game. Now, guess what? I think they will. I think with this change that both are making, but Oklahoma has now figured out the game again. And this is what you see in all of this, and this is what allows you to separate. But Vanderbilt's strength in this is they've not only figured out the game, they figured out how the game works best for them. So I think when you take examples, Rhett, to be more specific to your question, if you were giving top 5 examples, they're right there with the Ohio States of the world, who right now have figured out the game. And listen, people listening to 104.5 The Zone right now, I get it. Some people don't agree with the game. Some people don't like NIL. They don't like transfer portal. It's not this. It's not that. Got it. I understand your arguments. But understanding this is what we got. The key to this is understanding the game. Vanderbilt has gotten the game. And, man, if we were playing chess or checkers or anything else, you would just absolutely have to tip the hat to them. But I think it starts with their athletic director. It starts with everybody who's been involved. And they knew they had the right guy in Clark Lee. And they just said, let's help him any way we can to become successful, because he's one of ours. He represents us well. We know he's a good football coach. And he's been willing to listen to all that and to get on board with some of the things that they've done.
Mike, you spitting right now, man. I don't even want to. Really, we could have just ended it right there, but I got one more I'd ask you if you don't mind, man.
Sure, whatever you like.
All right, don't tell me that. Can I borrow Can I borrow your credit card?
Sure.
Oh, well, moving forward then. That was a yes. Quick yes.
I mean, you can, yeah, not red.
I get it.
With that
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Yeah.
With that being said, last night, man, Houston and the Vols on the hardwood. Fun to watch, fun to listen to, and just an all-around good game. We stole a March Madness matchup last night, Mike. What did you think about that one, Coach Barnes? You've been around him. You understand him. He's a hard guy to please, but he had big smiles after that one last night.
Well, he's a guy who understands the game.
Okay.
71 years old, and he has embraced transfer portal and NIL and all of that. You know, that's why Tennessee is where they are right now in basketball. He's a great coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach who gets how it all fits together. And if you see Nate Ament and Jacoby Gillespie and Jalen Carey, you know, what he was able to do in that game, what stands out to me, when Tennessee played Houston in the Elite Eight last year, they got big boyed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm watching that game and I'm texting a friend of mine, and I said, Houston looks like they've got a bunch of 30-year-old guys. And Tennessee could not match up with the physicality. Tennessee could not play offense or defense in the area of the 2-point range. The 3-point range was one thing, but Houston went to work on them inside. Last night, Tennessee lost the rebounding battle to Houston by one. Tennessee was just as physical as Houston. Offense, defense, glass, didn't make any difference. Bishop Boswell, over 30 points or over 30 minutes, 10 points, physicality on both ends. That was a classic case of taking what your weakness was last March and adding parts to it. Tennessee played 9 guys. They played very physical. They didn't shoot the three particularly well, but I mentioned they rebounded. And, oh, by the way, down the stretch, shot their free throws.
Yeah.
You know, made nearly 80% of 29 free throws in the game. I'm telling you, people been sleeping on Tennessee. Oh, the number 17 team in the country. That ain't the number 17 team in the country. Now, you got Kansas tonight, got Syracuse on Tuesday, got Illinois there a week from Saturday, got Louisville on the 16th. Work to be done, and the SEC is crazy good. But I think Tennessee has improved not only what they can do offensively from the 3-point range, they've improved a lot of what they can do as far as 2-point scoring, finishing at the basket, and on defense. They're a typical Rick Barnes team that has better size and more physicality. I think this is going to be a dangerous club come March, and they showed you a peek of that last night with their improvement against Houston.
Man, that team defensively hit the floor faster than a toddler on the playground, Mike. They defensively, their hustle is, to your point, you better hit that floor or you're going to be on the bench. It's the way I look at it.
If you don't play defense, you're not playing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it starts for Rick Barnes. That's what he's emphasized to Amari Abram. You're one of our better 3-point shooters, but to get out there, you've got to play defense. He's playing defense now. Bishop is a key factor in that because he is an excellent defender. Was a great high school football player.
Yeah.
I mentioned that to one of the football coaches. He's like, I wonder what he's interested in doing after he finishes. He was an all region wide receiver just outside of Charlotte. And when you see, and Jacoby Gillespie was an all-state defensive back at Greenville.
Yeah.
And when you see those athletes out there, you're like, they look like football players. Jalen Carey certainly looks like a football player. They didn't have a dude like that last year. 13.7 boards against Houston, and most importantly, 23 minutes.
Yeah.
Big.
Mike Keith, Voice of the Vols, joining us here on Ramon and Will. Have a great call Saturday afternoon. We'll all be listening. Tell Larry and the boys that we said hello.
Well, I will do that. It's wonderful to be on with you. And again, happy Thanksgiving to you guys and to everybody listening. And go Vols.
Go Vols.
Go Vols is right. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. Right. When we move on, we discuss some shout-outs in high school football. As a matter of fact, I'm glad Mike mentioned that because the Tennessee Titans Mr. Football finalists were announced last night. Let's give a rundown of some shout-outs of this.